time and time again, what I will preach when it comes back to crypto investments, there's a few things. One, conviction. At the end of the day, everything goes back to conviction of if you're getting into an investment, if you're like, I want to get into Bitcoin. I keep on saying, great, if that's what you want to get into, or you have your list of coins, go into why. What is your belief behind it? What is the pros, cons, the possibilities, the probabilities, but really like, why is this part of the future? And what purpose does this have in your portfolio?
Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. I got Miss Whitney in the house. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great, Austin. Thanks for having me on today.
You got it. So happy to have you here. What's interesting is we become quick friends, but I know nothing about you. So before you were running Queen of Millions in your large group, what were you doing before that?
So I'm obsessed with crypto and helping women particularly build their confidence through crypto and falling in love with their crypto plan. But before that, I was in the engineering world. So I was a construction and civil engineer and managing crews in the field, cranes, concrete, scheduling of plans, bidding jobs, all that type of stuff, more in the engineering world.
And so did you build out your community? Did you start investing in crypto while you were still working that job, or was it a straight transition?
No, it was a left turn type of a turn. So I was in the engineering field for 4 years, and I realized in that time that I was feeling very empty and my life was not filled with freedom. And that was like a very core value of mine. Basically, I was living a life that was not mine. And so I said, I'm going to leave this job. And I had gone down some different rabbit holes to really figure out if there was nothing in that field for me. And there wasn't. That lit me up. And so I left that job. I was working in DC, a very normal life, was in a long-term relationship, ended a lot of things, left the country, left the job, and hopped on a one-way flight over to Bali. Okay. It was during that time that I was like, I got into Bali. I was just planning on doing a corporate detox and like rewriting and rebuilding a life that worked for me on my own terms. And it wasn't until I got over there that I was like, whoa, there's all these different people doing life on their own terms. And there's all these different ways that I can play. And right away, the first meal that I was having alone, I ended up meeting this guy who spoke to me about, he was a macroeconomist, he was an investor, he was a trader, he was managing a crypto friends and family fund. And I was like, I've never really heard of crypto. I thought this was crazy. And he described it in a way where my engineering brain was like, this is technology of the future. This is infrastructure of where the financial system is moving towards. And I was like, I want to front run these things. I want to be part of the freedom movement. I understand that it's an adoption curve and an adoption cycle, and I want to be early, kind of like the internet was like with the .com boom. So the real pull for me into crypto and into investing was like, how do I have this for me? I had a retirement fund, and I was like, what can I do with this? How can I bet on myself? How can I become financially literate so that I can set my future self up for more success than what I would have had on this corporate route, following corporate and traditional financial instruments. And instead, I felt comfortable to take some more risk and bet on myself.
What's interesting, right, is that I probably had like 3 to 5 of those conversations in my life where you think to yourself, like, if I would have not gone to that restaurant, if I would have gone an hour later, like it's like almost like the universe or something was setting you up to have this exact conversation in this exact moment that you needed it, because if you would have heard it 6 months prior, you probably wouldn't have. I don't know. It's just amazing how things unfold like that.
It was definitely one of those kismet experiences. And it was something as simple as like, this man had like beautiful food in front of him. And I was like, what are you eating? It looks so good. And if I didn't say that, and honestly, I walked into that restaurant feeling very nervous about myself, like socially in the world. And if I didn't say that one thing or challenge myself to like make a new friend, that whole conversation, that whole opportunity, that whole timeline would have just been like, whoop, nope, might not have gone down that pathway. So it's just amazing those moments in time, and then just saying yes to life.
Well, what's interesting, right, is like anybody that's stuck in their job or anybody that's stuck in their situation, what gave you the confidence to kind of step away and rebuild and reconstruct this kind of like life of yours? And obviously you were scared. I mean, obviously, but why did you do it anyway when most just stay?
I actually wouldn't say I was scared. I was really like, I knew that this wasn't it to life. So when I was in the corporate world, I had a moment where I was walking around. I was in the headquarters of my. I was working with a general contractor, pretty big DC general contracting. I was like walking around the building, and I was like looking into the executives' offices, and I was like working with these VPs, and I would like peek on in. And I was like, does anyone live a life that I would like to live? And the answer, every single person, I was like, no, they don't have very much time for their family. They look extremely stressed out. They're all number crunching. They're all money crunching. They're all like relationship, just like it's the grind. And I was like, there's no one who's living a life that I would aspire at all. And so for me, it was moments of being like, everyone's choosing their own life path. And I know that I've chosen this life path because I got on the university route. I know what I lived in the suburbs of Massachusetts. Like there was a lot of, I understand how I was sculpted into this path, but at the same time, I got to choose, do I want to continue down this path? Would I still be happy over the next 30 years? Or would I have these regrets? And for me, the answer was absolutely 100%. I need to go find a different pathway. So I don't think I was scared. I was more so just following my curiosity to be like, what is that life that I want to build for myself? And I had this big belief that I was like, I know that I'm meant to do something bigger in this world. I know that there's all this purpose and passion and curiosity and fire within me, but I just haven't tapped into that yet. So I was more curious and receptive. And I was like, I'm hungry to learn and I want to live that path. And I know that I'm gonna have to break and like, I want to test myself, but I really want to know like, how resilient am I?
Mm. And so you had this conversation with this guy, and you're like, or did you just go investing like right away? Did you do some research? Like, how did you go about learning about this new concept that you heard?
Yeah. So everything. So when it came to crypto and when it comes to anything in my life, I follow my curiosity. I go 2 feet in and I follow it. If something's there, I'm like, I have to learn. I have to go. I have to keep on going in. And my curiosity is usually a pretty big metric. So I was curious and I was hungry. I was like, I need to know more. And I find with anything in my life, and I think anyone basically should have this route where it's like you keep on learning or you keep on following your curiosity until you have built up a certain level of trust where you say, I now trust to a certain level that I need to take another action because there's been a new level of trust built in myself. And so I was picking his brain where I was like, whoa, I understand that blockchain is part of the future. I understand crypto is part of the future. I understand these types of things. Let's go deeper in here. Let's understand where I'm at in the market cycle. And at the same time, I was like, I know that I have enough information right now to know that this is part of the future and to know that I'm curious to go down this pathway. So I'm in. And I had a moment where I asked him to be my mentor. He welcomed me on in. And I was like, I'm going to commit to this financial literacy route. I'm going to commit to this life of freedom and betting on myself. And I know that's going to come with highs and lows. But at the end of the day, I also know that freedom requires being financially savvy. And this is a skill set I'm going to need in some way, shape, or form. So I was like, I'm hungry. I'm young enough. Let me go on in.
And how long ago was that from today?
5-6 years ago. So I'm 31 today. So back when I was 26-ish, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. And so one of my jokes to anybody that's in their 20s is if you're going to take a chance in life, that's the time to do it because the farthest that you have to fall is from the couch to the floor. Like you don't have it, you don't have a lot of stuff. Typically you don't have kids. Like this is really an opportunity that you can set yourself up for, a ton of options, right? If you really find something, because one of the things that I keep talking with people about, and I talked to a hedge fund guy this morning about, is like, what is an actual investment these days? Like seriously, like everything's changing, the landscape's changing, the money's changing, real estate's changing, PE's changing. So what is an actual investment? Because there used to be like long cycles and metrics, and now things happen so quickly that you can get caught up in like trying to understand what even makes sense, right? And a lot of people have discredited Bitcoin. A lot of people have discredited crypto, blockchain, but like in my opinion, it's not avoidable now. Like big companies, countries, like they're not just playing house, like they're really investing. And so I think a lot of people want to sit on the sidelines, and it's the same story from everybody. He said it too. Like, oh, I should have held at like when I was in it like 2 grand, you know? And so what conviction do you have like when you find something or something hits you in your soul? Like, do you just have this like deep rooted conviction? Does it waver at all times? Like how did you stay in, and how did others not stay in?
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know what I do, I have a community called Queen of Millions, which is like teaching women to become crypto investors, but also how do we stay in the game, and how do we not only make data driven decisions, but also what do we need to take care of our human self to keep ourselves in the game. And time and time again, what I will preach when it comes back to crypto investments, there's a few things. One, conviction. At the end of the day, everything goes back to conviction of if you're getting into an investment, if you're like, I want to get into Bitcoin. I keep on saying, great, if that's what you want to get into, or you have your list of coins, go into why. What is your belief behind it? What is the pros, cons, the possibilities, the probabilities? But really, like, why is this part of the future? And what purpose does this have in your portfolio? And I find very often people will skip over this step. And this is, they're like, I know that Ethereum and Bitcoin are part of the future, and I'm going to put a little bit in. But they're like kind of scared, and they play it really safe. And when they do this, they back off, and they don't put as much money into the market that they could. And then they come back and they're like, I really wish I went harder in during this time. And I was like, yes, that's the purpose of having a conviction, is you actually do the research and be like, this is part of the future. So I'm going to take this moment, this opportunity and time seriously, and be like, if I really dove into this, how would my energy feel knowing that I believe this is part of the future for all these reasons? The president of the United States keeps on buying more Bitcoin. There are governments and institutions that are buying and creating digital asset treasuries that are now crypto-centric. Policies are now being created. Like, if people could actually take a moment to just look at 1% of the information, you can start to see how much crypto is part of the future, and it's not going away. And that is one key thing that I think people will do, is they forget to take a look at what is my personal conviction around where the crypto world is moving towards. And if you just slow down a little bit, consume information quite intentionally, it can help save you a lot of time and make you a lot more money, so that you can go in heavier at the beginning, being like, this is where the world's moving towards. I have this belief around it. And then navigating volatility becomes a lot easier. So I find conviction is probably the number one thing. And the number two thing is building out like your relationship to your individual investments, where like I can take risk with certain things and be like, this percentage of my portfolio is over here and it's providing this purpose for me, but it's not 100% of my portfolio. And there's a reason and rationale to that as well.
And I think one of the things that I've noticed about you is two things. One, you're really good at blocking out the noise. Number two, you have deep convictions in everything that you do, right? And so I think a lot of people are. I was talking to him about this morning. My personal opinion is 95% of what's out there is all noise right now.
Yeah.
Like, and you have to find your 5%. Like I really believe this. Like, I talk to people every day. I'm in meetings every day. I believe that the next 10 years of like true wealth creation and like success is based off of one fact and one fact only: discipline. Like discipline of like understanding like, this is the plan. This is what I've decided on. And I'm not going to let the news or social media or this person or Frank down the street pull me off of this. And I'm going to go all in on myself and this thing because I'm aligned in this opportunity. And it sets off all the right things, because I've spent enough time in the wrong opportunities that you're trying to make work. And man, that's a hard road.
Yeah. I even want to speak to the wrong opportunities. Because I think that some people in the crypto world, if you've been in it and you're like, this is this is rough, or this isn't real, or there's a lot of shit out there, which is a big reality as well. Instead of just being like writing something off as a no, instead I like to use the learning and the growing experiences as fuel, and as like you're collecting wisdom and data there, to know what you're available for and what you're not available for. Because one thing that is a guarantee in the future is, first off, change, but second off, we're going to just keep on having more opportunities and more decisions to be made. And
Mhm.
you do have to be 2 feet in on your decision, because someone else, like, more money is made, your net worth goes up, your Bitcoin goes to whatever, more people will be knocking on your door being like, hey, I have this new coin out there. Would you want to invest in this? And you have to be like, does this fit into my plan? Or am I really happy and at peace with the Bitcoin that I have? So life will constantly be trying to pull you off your path, but you have to go back and be like, did I learn my lessons from the mistakes I made or the no's? And am I actually relaying that forward in my plan going ahead?
And if you had to put your finger on like um, your key attribute as a person or as an investor, what do you think that is for advice for people out there? So I know everybody's has their own thing, but like, what's your thing that you pride yourself on? Is it your conviction, like your like belief once you've got the data you need?
Conviction is what I want to get to, but I don't think that's the thing. I think it's curiosity.
Okay.
Because you need curiosity to build conviction, or you need curiosity to be like, I feel uncomfortable with this. I haven't made this decision. I haven't done that. And I have to unapologetically lean into my curiosity, or ask the right people, ask the right people the right questions, to analyze, is this an opportunity I want to get into or not? Is the timing right or not? And so curiosity is simply being able to ask high quality questions and the right questions. And I think that's one of the biggest things with a lot of beginners getting into the crypto space, is they don't have the education or the awareness to know which types of questions to ask. So a lot of times I will commend and compliment to the moon when I watch my beginners ask higher quality questions. Like the quality of questions is what I really look for, because I'm like, you have learned, you are asking these things because you are seeing more. I'm so proud of you. And that's the piece that all beginners want, is they're like, I want my money to go up in value. But for them to go up in value, they have to be able to ask high quality questions to know if they're on path or not.
I love that. And so to shift gears, which I think is probably one of the hardest things to do on the planet, is to successfully launch and sustain a community, because the depth of energy and lift it takes to be a container for a large group of people who want to be successful and want to learn. Um, why did you venture into this space, and how and kind of what was the inspiration to launching this community for these women?
Great question. So if anyone doesn't know, today we have around 250 ladies in the space in my community, and that's across 20 different countries. So it's very international, widespread in walks of life of different women. And the big reason that I felt the fuel in the drive to building Queen of Millions is because when crypto did really well for me, so I watched 25K turn to over $500,000 within 9 months. This was back in 2020. During that period, when the money went up, I realized, I was looking around, I didn't have women in my world that I could go to for the human support. And for me, that was the hardest part, because I don't think it's necessarily about just watching money go up, but instead it's what does you as a human do to be able to make decisions to sell? How are you emotionally leading yourself? Is the volatility taking a wreck? Are you hitting into greed zone? Or if the price goes down a lot, are you selling? And are you just an emotional wreck? And so for me, it hit on the upside, where I was like, I feel really alone in this process. And I even went around to a lot of different crypto meetups, and I was trying to collect and find women that spoke my language, but I couldn't find them. And so I created Queen of Millions because I was like, I know women are out there in crypto, but I also do know that when women are out there, they're typically more quiet. And if they are in groups with men, they may even like really sit on the back burner. And I was like, there is such a gift and a wisdom to women coming together. And we just do things differently. We look for data differently. We ask different quality questions. we're literally on different cycles than men. And therefore, like, there needs to be a space for women to come together. So my big drive was there was like the money. We're in a time where there's a lot of wealth transfers going on, and a big wealth transfer is shifting the money into women's hands as well. So I'm like, how can women feel confident in shifting their relationship to money, but also aligning themselves to exponential growth and aligning their money to the future, like it is in the crypto world?
I love that. And what have you learned about yourself in launching and growing this community?
Oh my, too many things to count. um, Man, it has been one of the greatest blessings in the world. Um, there's been so many things. Building in the crypto space has felt absolutely insane because it is filled with volatility, and it has tested me in a way where once something is working, I'm constantly just having to pivot. And something can work really, really well, but I'm just like, there's a lot of pivoting going on. There's a lot of adaptability. So I feel like I've lived a lot of lives just in the entrepreneurial space. But more than anything, it has shown me to be of service is really one of the greatest gifts. So whenever I am feeling anything in the crypto world, or whenever I'm feeling anything in my personal life, whenever I can go on and speak with my research team and then come back to the community, speak with anyone within the space, and then come back and deliver that back. And not only me deliver, but even hear the voices of other women and be in service. That has been one of the greatest gifts, to be able to help. It's been life-giving in ways that I can't even explain. And this is just a reminder for me of just like, we're really not meant to do life alone. We're not meant to build exponential wealth alone. We're not meant to align our money to the future or to live a bold life. Like, really, connection has been key so much as a reminder during building this process.
And I think what's interesting, right, is I pride myself on leaving places better than I found it. That's a big deal for me. It's rare that I meet somebody such as yourself who, when you leave your presence, you feel energized opposed to less energy.
Yeah.
You have such a aura about you that is basically, kind of a magnet for positivity, like growth, but also like connected to like a central theme, right? A lot of people, to me, their energy feels loose. Yours doesn't feel loose. It feels like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm really excited about this thing, and I'm going to like put both my feet in it, like you said. And I think a lot of people are playing the game, one foot in, one foot out, like in every aspect of their life. I know that because I've got my foot in 70 different things. So I'm not calling anybody out. I'm merely stating. But when somebody is fully in what they do and they embody it, you can feel that. And that's why I think the community has continued to grow. And that's why I think the women are there, because, I always believe that when I meet a great founder or a great CEO, I don't need to know the type of people that work there, because I already know who they are, because they wouldn't put up with that LS. So I already know, without speaking to a single person in your community, that this is some of the most high quality, driven, aspirational, value-based women that exist, because anybody that was countering that wouldn't be in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you.
Yeah.
I very much, my passion around life and crypto has been very contagious in the space. And that's where it's been very fun to experience that. But speaking to the point of like building a life, I mean, we're on the Construct Your Life podcast. Building a life that is in alignment has been my greatest hunger and drive and passion. Once crypto moved up, I was like, now what? I need purpose. And I was on the hunt and mission to be like, what is that? And it was really interesting. I resisted with all of my might. I was like, I will not go back into the crypto space. I was like, I can invest, but I will not lead out in these stuff. And it was funny because I was building a few projects back at the very beginning. And I was very nervous to build a community or to build leadership in that sense, because I knew that I had to speak about my own relationship to money, or I had to be tested. I had to be vulnerable. I had to be a leader. And I was like, I don't want the spotlight. I don't want to lead these things. I could bring other people into the space, right? And it's funny that once you say yes to the mission of like, I want to be of purpose and of service, the things will arise and then the invitations will be there. And it's a matter of you saying yes and being 2 feet on in. That is the greatest gift. So that 2 feet in, I think, is just something that everyone should be leading with more of their life, because if you're 2 feet in, like very quickly, you're going to learn, is this a yes or a no? And if it's a yes, you're going to keep on growing exponentially. And if it's a no, you're also going to learn really fast as well.
Well, most people won't put their feet in because they want to keep their options open. And so here's my question. If you change the mindset to every opportunity is an opportunity for me to learn, that's like different. Like literally, I made a promise to myself 6 months ago that I would put myself for the next 3 years in the most uncomfortable situations possible.
Yeah.
Like, because I want to do things I'd never done. I asked the hedge fund guy today, hey, how can I be an asset to y'all? He's like, well, this is what we do. And I was like, yeah, I've never heard of that before, but sounds great. I'm going to figure out a way to help y'all. Like, it's just like so many different things. And so, being a part of a group changed my life. When I joined one, 7 years ago, and it was the first time I got around like real investors, like people that had like multiple businesses, multiple real estate things. It changed my life to be surrounded by those other people and go, oh, like my learning curve to go from 3 Airbnbs to like 50, like it took me like 5 months instead of like 5 years, because these people were like, oh yeah, you just do this and this and this and this. And so I really am like champion people like joining groups and getting around other driven curiosity people, because your learning curve is going to change just like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's because it's one thing about information. So like strategy is needed. And I actually find the more that you can go deep into something, the more strategies you can see to be like, am I going to carry down with this investment plan versus this investment plan? And that strategies save you a lot of time and energy so that you don't waste your energy playing games that are no. So I find that there's a lot of use in joining spaces for strategy and like being like, what is actually like owning my plan solidly 2 feet in. Then the other part is the wisdom that is gained, because anyone who's going in on this and going 2 feet in, and when you have people that are wildly obsessed, you just learn all of these lessons and this wisdom exponentially that can be applied to the actual craft that you're doing, but it can also be applied to the craft of life. And so even today, over the past 48 hours, I'm sure people are going to listen to this later on, but over the last 48 hours, the crypto market has been insane. The markets have been insane. People have been panicking of like, is this a bear market? Is this a bull market? What's going on? And during this time, my ladies we came together and I was like, let's gain the wisdom here. Let's go back to your plan. And also let's have this be a reminder for yourself that getting exponential results and exponential gains come with exponential tests. And ultimately, you become a better human when you take more of those tests and you learn more things and you make faster moves. But you have to be 2 feet in to make those moves so you can get the exponential outcomes, which is what everyone wants.
Perfectly said. I'm not even going to add to that. So if people want to find you, they want to find the community, they want to reach out to you, how would they do that?
Yeah, they can go to website is queenofmillions.com. Or Instagram is the best place to find me on that place, which is whitney.magic.crypto.
I love it. Guys, if you got some value from this episode, send it to a friend, rate us and review us, and share us around to people that want to listen to this. We'll talk to you soon, guys.